Jacob Nichols walked out of a federal court a felon. The mayor's son pleaded guilty to conspiracy to steal from the Nooksack River Casino in Whatcom County. It's where he worked 2 years ago.
As a pit boss, he was the one who was first approached by the Tran organization.
In court, Nichols admitted he accepted $5,000 in bribes to introduce a member of the Tran organization, a gambling ring, to card dealers.
He made the introductions to the dealers who did the cheat at the tables.
Jacob Nichols' parents sat behind him in court when he told a federal magistrate he is guilty. Mayor Greg Nichols and his wife refused to comment when they left the courthouse. He did issue this statement, saying in part, "Jake today is taking an important step in accepting responsibility for his actions. We love him and will stand by him throughout." What do you think will come up at sentencing when sentencing comes up?
I really don't want to comment until sentencing. We'll definitely have something to say after sentencing. But
investigators determined that the conspirators stole a total of $90,000 from the Nooksack Casino. In part of his plea agreement today, Jacob Nichols agreed to pay back $90,510 to the casino. He now also must still be sentenced. That comes up in December. At the federal courthouse in Seattle, Denise Whitaker, KOMO 4 News.
Nichols could get up to 5 years in prison. The $90,000 stolen from the Nooksack Casino was a drop in the bucket compared to what the gambling ring stole across the country. Investigators say they got away with more than $3 million.
Courtroom this morning.
Jacob Nichols could face significant prison time for his role in a casino cheating ring. King 5's Chris Daniels is live at the federal courthouse in Seattle with the latest on this. Chris, he's already pled guilty. What now?
Yeah, that's right, Carolyn. He's going to find out a little bit later on this morning. He pled guilty back in August to conspiracy to commit theft from a tribal gaming establishment, and he'll find out just how much time he'll spend behind bars here at the federal courthouse just about a couple hours from now. 26-year-old Jacob Nichols, son of Seattle's mayor, could get up to 5 years in prison for his role in the scheme at the Nooksack River Casino in Deming. Nichols helped introduce dealers to the scheme's masterminds, who in turn taught the many baccarat dealers how to do false shuffles. The masterminds then stole more than $90,000 from the casino. Nichols got $5 grand for his role.
He was the one who was first approached by the Tran organization, by a member of this organization. So the losses that the Nooksack River Casino and the Nooksack tribe sustained were because he facilitated. He made the introductions to the dealers who did the cheat at the tables.
The mayor's son has agreed to reimburse the casino for the theft. Prosecutors say his role was just a small part of a larger cheating scheme involving 18 casinos, including the Emerald Queen near Tacoma. 24 people in all have been charged in the case. And besides those 5 years in prison, Jacob Nichols is also facing a $250,000 fine and 3 years of supervised release. Live in Seattle this morning, Chris Daniels, King 5 News.
All right, thanks for the update, Chris.
There should be some U.S. attorney action and some Mr. Robinson, the attorney for the defendant, should be coming out to make his statement. Gregory J most likely will not say anything, but you never know. And Sonny Boy, I think Sonny Boy would do well not to say anything too, because he came out, you know, right down this walkway here, a few feet over there, with a smirk on his face the last time. And you know, Nichols Mr. and Mrs. Nichols were reported as looking rather dour. As one report on television put it, a reporter asked, "Is it meaningful to have your dad here?" Somebody asked Nichols Jr. And he mumbled something that they didn't transcribe. It was like just like a yeah. And they said he was clearly grateful to have his dad, the mayor of the city of Seattle. Clearly grateful, but you know, that was it wasn't clear that he was grateful. What was clear is that he had a big smirk on his face. You know, it's just a high-profile Child Defense 101. Little tiny smile with a kind of a bowed head. That's what you do when you're getting off on big time charges. You know, that could have gotten to 5 years when you're confident you're going to get out fairly lightly. I'm hooked into this bench here. But he had a sort of continuous smirk on his face. It'll be more fun once we have more retrospective on what's actually gone down. If this punk gets off with no time and the myth that there was only $5,000 at stake, that will be a travesty. And, you know, there's a pretty clear indication in the sentencing memorandum. It says, well, you know, the prosecution feels that probationary time alone would not be sufficient to deal with the severities of these crimes. Well, hell yeah, it's not sufficient. A lot of people would say 16 months isn't sufficient. $90,000 is what he's more or less assumed to have directly participated in the theft of. $90,000, man. You do that with a gun, you'd be doing like 10 years federal time, no possibility of parole, right? And, you know, it is obviously less serious to do it without a gun. And I mean 10 years plus. I mean, if you did, as a federal crime, if you did that in a bank, for instance. So, slap on the wrist, there are clear indications it may be a day for only a slap on the wrist, although there's, up to this point, there's been no indication from Mr. Tate London, J. Tate London, that he was going that way until earlier this week when the sentencing memorandum was published as a matter of filing it with the court, called the sentencing memorandum. You know, I was told by the media person with U.S. Attorney that, oh, I'm sure the AP is monitoring that, and there will probably be a story. There has been no story.
3 months.
3 months? To serve, right? Not suspended or anything.
No, 3 months. 3 months home confinement. Probation.
3 months of home confinement?
In addition.
Oh, but he's going to federal prison. Yeah. And you're a radio reporter with what, Cairo?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's something. 3 months.
Hi, sir.
Hi. Go home.
I'm wrong.
Well, just your reaction to the sentencing wasn't exactly what you asked for.
I think it was within the realm of what is reasonable. Very pleased. I think the court has sent a very strong message that if you steal from a tribal casino, it is a very serious offense and you will be punished.
Yeah, that was the big thing that you had said over and over, is about sending a message.
And these sentencings, there are 23 defendants, and Mr. Nichols and Mr. McKillop were but 2. They were the first of the defendants to be sentenced. We within the Department of Justice were very interested in these sentences because they set a precedent for the other.
Speaking of the argument that your cohort was making, you know, fleeing for no time, you know, playing on the character and owning up and things. Obviously, the judge didn't find that as persuasive, but he did knock it 2 months off of what you were looking for.
And I think the judge did find it persuasive. Both of these very young men, they made very serious mistakes, very serious lapses in judgment. They were held accountable for their actions, but I don't think that the sentence was overly harsh and was not unduly lenient. The judge struck a very good balance.
Well, with Mr. Nichols' statement, you know, just what you made out of what he had to say to the court today.
I think he's remorseful. I think he and his family have suffered a lot, as has the McKillop family.
With the tribe?
I am a Nooksack Tribal Council member. I am also the Deputy Administrator and a Nooksack Tribal member.
Very good. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
The sentencing memorandum spelled out that the typical range for this sort of crime is 10 to 16 months.
No, that is actually the advisory guideline range, and As was stated in court, the courts are not obligated to impose an advisory guideline range sentence. That's just a starting point in the court's determination of the sentence imposed.
What specifically, though, was compelling to you in recommending 5 months rather than the apparent minimum of 10 months?
The 10 to 16-month guideline range, 10 months is the minimum of that. It's a Zone C offense. For Zone C offenses, the court in this advisory framework has the discretion to split a sentence and impose, say, 5 months imprisonment and 5 months home confinement. So that was the basis for it.
Well, why did the prosecution recommend half of the minimum?
Just considering all the facts and circumstances here, it seemed to be an appropriate recommendation.
And briefly, could you describe for me the ongoing nature? I noticed that in your sentencing memorandum you described that Mr. Nichols may want to describe his involvement in the scheme as limited, but in fact he had an ongoing role in the theft of the money. In fact, didn't he get a cell phone call from one of the conspirators when the gig was up, as it was described?
Well, that's true, and I made that comment in court, also in our sentencing memorandum.
And so you believe that Mr. Nichols, Jacob Nichols, was involved in the theft scheme on an ongoing basis. His involvement was much more than just introducing the criminals to the workers who were available to commit crime.
As I said at sentencing, I believe it was an ongoing role and it wasn't simply introductions.
And are you fully confident that $5,000 was the full extent of the benefit to Mr. Nichols personally in this criminal scheme?
That's what was in the plea agreement, and that the parties agreed that it was Mr. Nichols had
thank you. We got to go get the press release out. So reach it.
Hey. Got the handshake.
Just start with your name. My name is Jeff Robinson. Jake, why don't you start there? There are a couple of people that have asked if we're disappointed with the court's sentence. And I think the real message that Jake has asked me to deliver is that Jake is disappointed with his behavior, and the sentence is a result of his behavior. We are disappointed that Judge Kuhnauer didn't agree with our assessment. We think our assessment was an absolutely fair and correct sentence, but we came into this courtroom expecting to be punished. Jake's going to do the sentence and move on with his life. So we appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, Mr. Nichols, do you think that there's an apology that you should offer publicly to the Nooksack tribe that employed you?
Not to know.
Sir?
No, thank you.
But, sir, do you think that you owe the Nooksack tribe an apology publicly? Well, sir, you pled guilty to participating in a criminal scheme to steal $90,000 from Native peoples.
Hey, who killed Kurt Cobain? Remember that one? Working on that one?
Well, sir, it would only take you a second if you wanted to offer an apology. Do you think that you might publicly offer an apology to the Native people?
Circle or something?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't answer that.
Who you stole $90,000 from? Would an apology be in order, sir? Say, Jake, you're a big-time convicted federal criminal now. What's the reason for the continual smirk? You had it on your face when you pled guilty. You've had it on your face all day today. Any explanation for the continual smirk on your face, Jake? Is there something amusing about committing federal crime? Do you think that your father, being the mayor of the city of Seattle, do you think that your father, contributed to your getting off light with a 3-month sentence for committing a crime involving stealing $90,000? Did you get off pretty light there, Jake? Did you get off light because your dad's the mayor of the city of Seattle, Jake? Any comment on how you got off light, Jake? You got off light because your dad is the mayor of the city of Seattle? What's so funny about that, Jake? Fuck you. Yeah, you got off light, all right. 3 months' time for big-time federal crime. And the show's over, folks. There goes 5 of the cue cards.
For this one. Reporting live in Seattle, Rochelle Murcia, KOMO 4 News.
All right, Rochelle, 98 years, a lot of memories in that place. The son of Seattle Mayor Greg Nichols will spend 3 months in federal prison. Jacob Nichols pleaded guilty in August to conspiring to steal from the Nooksack River Casino. He says he accepted $5,000 bribes to introduce members of a gambling ring to crooked card dealers. As part of a plea agreement, Nichols will pay back more than $90,000 to the casino. He could have spent up to 16 months behind bars. Renton police have a warning about a rape suspect.